I'm Danny Rubin. I'm the founder of our company. We're called Rubin. We are based in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and we help students with their employability skills, with their communication skills, helping with how to communicate appropriately for college and career. And if you are new to our webinars, can you raise your Zoom hand for us? Anybody who's new in here? We have a lot of familiar names. We have anybody new we'd love to know. That's great. Thank you for being here. We love to help with practical communication. Another show of hands, how many of your students email you like they're sending you a text? Any hands for that? We often talk about that topic because it's always there. It's annoying. It's inappropriate many times. And so we really try to give you resources to help students communicate appropriately so they can open that next big door. And today we're talking about what used to be thought of as the future, but now it's very much right now in our face, which is artificial intelligence, ChatGPT. How many of you were thrown aside by ChatGPT in the middle of the spring semester? Like it just hit your school like a tornado and everybody was scrambling to figure out how to deal with it. Was that one of your experiences this past school year? It just showed up and all of a sudden everybody's trying to get their hands on it and the schools are grappling with it. And so here we are. It is, and make sure when you're commenting, and hi there, Angie, make sure when you're commenting, you're doing it to everyone, not just hosts and panelists. So what we're going to talk about today are ways to teach alongside that tool to help your students and you maintain an authentic voice, because these tools like ChatGPT are designed to help you write the way the computer wants you to write. And while it is good at, if you give it enough prompts, it will give you something original. But is it your voice? Is it writing in your voice? Tell me in the chat, when you have AI write for you, is it you? Even if you edit it down, the starting point is not you, right? It's the entire internet aggregated, giving you something that sounds nice, but is it truly you? And I want to give you some strategies today for some career situations to help you and your students to communicate in your own voice through your own experiences, because there's going to be a premium moving forward on being able to communicate with authenticity greater than ever before. Because if everyone's using ChatGPT, then suddenly everyone, ironically, starts to look the same. And when you learn how to write in your own voice, you can stand apart. So there's never been a greater value on authenticity than right now. Right now. And so I'm excited to go through some exercises with you and show you how to distance yourself from ChatGPT. Use it for yourself, and please share it with your students and your school. So to get started, what we're going to run through some housekeeping, and you know we love to give out free stuff. This one's something we've never given out before. So if you've had free stuff from us before, this is new. What you're looking at is a list of 14 email scenarios in which we as a company teach how to be authentic. I want you to take a second and read down the list. Some classic situations for students, how to ask about internships, how to apply even if there's no openings, how to ask for a letter of recommendation, how to follow up with someone after a job fair. Every one of these examples provides ways to be authentic in your own words, to be 100% unique without the need for ChatGPT, without the need for AI. And it'll be a better final product than anything AI could have written. Let me do a full screen. Okay, can we all see my screen full screen? Can someone just say yes, that I know that? Okay. So I'd love to give you these templates. You go to the next slide. If you'd like these templates, here's all you have to do. Go to the chat right now, type the word interested and your email address. Interested and your email address. If you are new to us, we like to have a short phone call the next day, which is Wednesday, so that you can learn what this material is all about and then share it with your school. So if you're new to us, we will send you an invitation on your calendar for tomorrow for 5 minutes to just show you what it is and then send you on your way. Okay? So please request it. Thank you to those who are doing that. And I think between today's webinar and those examples, you'll really understand what it means to communicate with authenticity in a world now inundated with AI. Continue to put your names in the chat. It's fine. I want to keep going. If you're watching on a recording, you can also have those templates. Send us an email with the subject line Rubin templates. We'll get it to you. Also, this is I mentioned that we're going on the road starting next week. So we're trying to fit these webinars in this week where it's a little quieter. So we have another webinar tomorrow, July 12th, Financial Literacy Essentials for the Job Search in the Workplace. So a different set of topics, but more worksheets, more activities to give out, a different conversation. So if you're free tomorrow, come right back and see us 11:30 in the morning, Eastern time. Love to have you. Also, everybody here today is going to get a certificate for being here. So you'll see that tomorrow, Wednesday morning in your email. So look out for your certificate. This shows you were here for the hour. Okay. Let me turn off my share for the moment and come back. So thank you to those who put their information in the chat. Look forward to giving you these examples. And there's something that we've had for a while, but we sort of cover so many other things today that we're going back to some of our roots a little bit. So with that, let's get into our conversation for today about authenticity. And I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to go through some other things. What I'm sharing with you right now is the curriculum our company provides to many CTE programs around the country. It's called Emerge. And Emerge is a library of activities for email etiquette, phone etiquette, conversation skills, leadership communication, a whole library of resources. And we are going to be looking at selected content from Emerge today to learn how to speak with authenticity. So Emerge is our foundation, and we're going to jump into some interior pages that I've already set apart for us. And I'm excited to kind of go through with you and help you to see it. I want this to be a dialogue. So I'm going to be asking questions. Stay near your laptop, stay near your keyboard. We want to have a conversation here. Who was with us in our conversation a few weeks ago on ethics? We talked about ethics and careers. We had a really good dialogue in the chat, did we not? It was great. I know I can't hear all of you, but it was a great back and forth. And we want to do that again today. So just like I said, try to stay here, lean in, as we say, and be part of our conversation. So the first thing I want to show you, let's talk first about a place where our authenticity should come through, but many times it does not. And now AI is going to become the quickest solution to this challenge, which is the cover letter, or by extension, the job application. How many of you help students with cover letters or job applications in your classes? See a lot of hands. So right away, if somebody's trying to cut corners, they'd say, oh, ChatGPT can write my cover letter for me. All I have to do is just give it a prompt and it'll spit it out. Well, earlier today, I was in ChatGPT and I generated a very basic cover letter through ChatGPT for a hardworking, aspiring young student. Now let's look at some of this together, and you can probably skim it for 10 seconds and tell me how it feels. As a hardworking and aspiring young student, I am eager to contribute my skills and my dedication to a dynamic organization like yours that values growth and innovation. I want to ask the chat, how does this cover letter feel? Does it feel personal? Does it feel inspiring? Does it feel authentic? I like some words here: generic, sterile, inauthentic, canned, cold, very generalized, not personal. The truth is, even before ChatGPT, most cover letters look like this, because we go on the internet, we find a template and we paste it, and we hopefully remember to switch out the fake company name in the template with the actual company. How many times have you seen a student apply for a job and not update the name of the company in their cover letter or their resume? It's like, the face palm, right? So when you send out a cover letter like this, you say, well, oh, I'm so efficient. I use technology. I have AI write all of my cover letters. How many employers are going to get back to this person? If you sent this to 25 employers, how many are going to immediately pick up the phone and say, I have to talk to this young person? Out of 25, how many do you think would get excited about this type of cover letter? Even though, oh, but AI wrote it for me, so it's got to be good, right? I would say 0 or maybe 1, if they're desperate to hire somebody, is going to reply back to this cover letter. Not very many, because it has no feeling. It feels like a robot wrote it because a robot did write it. So let's talk about how we could not just add authenticity here, but just take ChatGPT out of the equation for a second and write it ourselves in a way that is much, much more meaningful and memorable than what we have on the screen right here. Okay. So the first thing we're going to talk about, and for some of you who are returning to us, you know we've talked about this before. We talk about storytelling. How many of you have heard me talk about storytelling in our sessions before? We brought it up over the months on different themes. I'm a former TV reporter. I worked in journalism. I went to school for journalism. I worked in the field. I was on live television doing the news every night. And then I worked in public relations. And the woman who said she's in PR would understand. Then I pitched my customers, my clients, to the news by giving the news really good stories to tell about my client. So I am trained in the idea of stories do the selling. Who's ever heard that expression before? Stories do the selling. Show me, don't tell me, right? All these ideas. Well, it plays a role in college and career. A big spot is in job applications. And let me show you how we could replace a bunch of this gobbledygook, right? That's how I'm going to describe it, with something much more meaningful. And we show students first a video of a young woman who told a phenomenal personal story of her, a time she overcame a challenge in school, and it helped her land a dozen internships for some of the biggest marketing and public relations agencies in the country, in the world, actually. And she landed at the top one in the world because her story got her all the way to the front of the line. So we show students, and I want you to show students through this recording, how to tell a story, a personal story. We've told this story in sessions before, but if you haven't heard it, let me show you what I'm talking about. What do most cover letters start with? What would be the first sentence of most cover letters? Can somebody tell me what's that classic opening sentence after the dear Mr. or Ms. or I am interested in, my name is blank and I'm interested in the role of blank, right? That's how it starts, right? What are we doing here? What do we do in this first line? I looked up at the sky and couldn't believe it. Storm clouds. What are we doing here? That's not the typical intro. That's not what ChatGPT says you should do. What is this? We're throwing the reader into the conflict of our story. For months, my team and I had prepared for the annual Big Nonprofit Association Charity Bash, in which students throw a party for 24 hours straight and raise money for children's hospitals. We had the quad reserved and the event ready to go. Then out of nowhere, a huge thunderstorm threatened to ruin everything. As team leader, I organized our group to take the dance party inside the gymnasium, notified all 250 participants about the location change, and worked with an audiovisual tech to ensure the music played indoors. Within 3 hours, we had the Big Nonprofit Association party back on track, and in the end, collected $11,000 for charity, the most we had ever raised. What did I do here? What is different here from here? And this just goes and goes. A bunch of a bunch of who's reading that? What is here versus here? What's different? A real life example. Painted a picture, told a story. Which one's more interesting? Even if you prompted ChatGPT with some details, it's not going to write in your voice. So which one is more engaging? Which one are you more excited to talk to? This person or this person? ChatGPT or a real human? That's right. And you can feel it. There's a person on the other end. It's not a computer. So we start off with a story. Now, there's one big piece of information I haven't read out loud yet. It's in the first line of part 3. What do we not even know yet? We don't even know what. We don't know the person's what. I didn't say it out loud. We didn't say her name. Now, why would we do that? We have to say their name. We have to put our name somewhere up high. Isn't that what you're supposed to do? No, why not? Because we want the employer to fall in love with our work ethic. Forget our name. It doesn't matter what neighborhood we're from, what we look like. Does any of that really matter? Or are the employers just looking for great work ethic, great soft skills? I know they tell you that. I know you hear it from your employer partners. How many of them tell you, your kids have great technical skills. We need to give us more soft skills, right? We need more soft skills. Have you ever heard them say that to you? Probably every time you meet and in every survey you give them. So let's start with those soft skills. Then they can know our name, right? So this is how we distance ourselves from the allure of ChatGPT. We train our students to tell our own personal stories in our own voice because let's face it, do our students also need to learn how to write and use their brain to use critical thinking and put sentences together? We're not trying to phase that out. They have to know how to put sentences together to be successful in life. So, and I know you're probably trying to keep this tool out of school anyway, but this is a way to shield yourself from technology, help them tell a story, work on their writing skills, work on their critical thinking, and share an honest to goodness moment in their life. But this is only half of the cover letter and half of the approach to be more authentic. There's a second side to the cover letter. The first part is to talk about ourselves in a very meaningful, customized, authentic way. But what else do we need to do? Who else do we need to talk about? On the other side of that coin, we talk about us, then we talk about, who do you think? Where do we then put our attention? And then we'll do it in an authentic way. Who else should we be talking about in this cover letter? Yes, and make sure we're all commenting with employer or with everyone, not host and panelists. The employer. Now, what's a typical way you would write that in a cover letter with ChatGPT or on your own? What's a standard line? Oh, how about something like, well, it is, Joseph, how you would benefit the company, but we're going to go one step further than that. We're going to catch them by surprise. in an authentic way. We need to show that we deeply care about this company as much as we want them to care about us. So let's look at how we do that. A great activity that you can do in class, very easy, but it is profound. And it will change your students' outcomes and who wants to talk to them for opportunities. We are going to share an example of that company, one of their recent projects, in our cover letter to be so drilled down and specific that they cannot deny our authenticity. So for the example, we are going to use the website of a company that is based in Virginia. It's a large hospital system. I'm sure you have a large hospital system in your community. It could be any company, but I'm giving you this one because it's a really clear example. It's called Centera, and they have hospitals all over the state. And what we're going to do here is we are going to learn about this company in a way that most students would not think to learn about them. Most adults wouldn't either. So we're going to, if you wanted to learn, I'm going to ask you in the chat, if you want to learn about the latest and greatest achievements from a company, you'd go to their website, and what kinds of pages would you look on? What are the pages called? Give me some ideas in the chat. News, about us, possibly, but about us, that page may not change a lot. Community involvement, perhaps. Not necessarily the mission, vision, and values. I want to get away from that here because a lot of people do that. A lot of people regurgitate the mission, vision, and values. History, perhaps. Yes. Hi, Heidi. How are you? Now we're getting there. You're all close. Some of you hit it on the head. We're going to go to their news, their press releases, their blog, and I'm going to show you why. Now on this site, and this is what you want to help students to do, please do this with your students in the fall, please. It'll change their outcomes. Visit a website of a company where they want to work or intern. And you got to look around. Where's the news? Where's the press? Where is that? Well, on this page, I don't see it at the top. Maybe here. That actually is one place, but let's go down to the footer. Look on that left side. You see some things? What do you see on the left side? I see it again, and I see newsroom. Look for words like that. We're going to go to the newsroom. What do we find? We find news that is new, things that have just happened. So Centera, Northern Virginia Medical Center, recognized for excellence in lactation care. They celebrate network of regional advocacy. There's always something new going on, and they have an entire team dedicated to sharing the information. So here's the activity. The student visits whatever they find interesting on the website of where they want to work. It could even be a dream company like Nike or Starbucks or some big brand. They can do it there too. All these companies share news. Have the student visit the page, read the article all the way to the end, all the way to the end. So we're practicing our reading skills, synthesizing information, paying attention, reading, actually reading, not skimming. And they're going to take what they learned and they're going to bring the information into their cover letter and also be ready to reference what they learned in job interviews or at career fairs. So let me show you what it looks like when we bring authenticity into our cover letter or interviews the second time. We told our story. That's great. Now we're going to talk about them. Let me show you what I mean. As I researched your organization, I learned a great deal about the inspiring work you do with Little Nonprofit Association and its annual fundraising walk that supports cancer research. I read your blog post about how the walk raised $400,000. That's an impressive feat since the funds mostly came through a single Facebook campaign. Let me stop right there. What did I do? What did I do here? And tell me, how did I make sure they knew that I read the blog post? What are some words or numbers that I used that show I was on the website? And I'm not bluffing or making this up. Provided, and tell me, Katie, what specific information? What do you see in that sentence? What number? Tell me. I know I'm being rhetorical, but we got to drill this home. What number did I use? $400,000. When I use that number, it means I was on your website. And when I'm on your website, what does it mean? What does it show about me that I took time to learn about you before I applied for the job? What does it say about me as an applicant? What does it say about the kind of person I am, the kind of employee I would be? You're thorough, you won't waste their time. And you are my number one interest. You have my dedication. Yeah. And I'm authentic, right? It's genuine. It's honest. It's real. You can feel it. So this is how we can still live in a world of authenticity without the need for ChatGPT to do the work for us. Now, you could take these raw details from the blog post, put them in ChatGPT. It could generate a paragraph similar to this. And we're probably heading into a world where that will happen more and more. But I'm challenging you and your students that you can write this on your own. You can do this by yourself. And frankly, you can get further ahead faster than everyone else over there trying to scheme and use technology to get ahead of you. Just because it's out there and it's available doesn't mean it's the best possible solution for what you're trying to achieve. Because the real stuff still holds true, and we're going to long for the real stuff more and more as AI comes into society. Are there any questions about what we just went through? The authenticity for the first part of the cover letter and the authenticity in that second part. Both times require us to look inside and do the extra. But the finished product is so much better than other people's cover letters that you're going to get noticed. So these answers have been here for years and years and years. We didn't need the ChatGPT to come along to show us how to be meaningful and tailored and sharp. We didn't need it at all. Now there are certain tasks it's going to do for us that'll save us time, but I think cutting corners here will only hold you back. Now, let's look at another aspect of what it means to demonstrate employability skills, demonstrate maturity, which is a thank you note, right? A thank you note. So how many of you help students write thank you notes, whether it's handwritten or over email? And what are some situations in which students would write thank you notes? Is it related to having somebody come speak to the class? Is it having a sponsor of an event, a competition judge? Like when do thank you notes enter into your classroom? After an interview, a mentor, a guest speaker? Great. The example that I have prepared is a thank you note after meeting with somebody to help you along in your career or your life, like a mentor or someone who's going to connect you to that summer internship, or a family friend who knows so-and-so who's going to help you, all those situations, right? But the strategy holds the same, and it doesn't need ChatGPT. Let's go back to what ChatGPT would do. A thank you note after a networking meeting. Guess what we're going to find? Oh, a whole bunch of this. I mean, if I sat with a young person, gave them an hour of my time and gave them all kinds of advice and guided them, connected them, and then I get this. What am I going to think if I get this email after giving somebody my time, our most precious commodity? What would run through my head? What will run through your head? The first thing I would say is, well, this is a ChatGPT generated thank you, right? I mean, there's no way I would think that a student wrote this. And once again, it says a lot of nothing. Can I just be honest with you? Doesn't this say a lot of nothing? I was impressed by your expertise and experience. Your insights provided me with valuable perspectives and a deeper understanding of the field. Your willingness to share your knowledge and offer advice demonstrated your genuine commitment. Does that say just a lot of nothing to you? Raise your hand if you agree with that. It's just, here's an expression, maybe you've used it. It's word salad. It's just words. It's a lot of words that you didn't write that sound nice, but they really just are just, they're just, ugh, I hate reading this stuff. It's words. Thank you, Monica. It's word salad. How many nice words can I put together? And this is what ChatGPT will do. So let's turn that off and bring it from the heart. Let's look at the example here. First of all, what we like to do in our Emerge program is show bad and then good. So one way, if they wrote it on their own, is, thanks again for meeting, I learned a lot. It's like, no. It looks like a child wrote it, not someone in middle school or high school or college. Looks like a third grader wrote it. Students can do better. So let's talk about what would make it better and make it authentic. Okay. First of all, we have the subject line that references the whatever, the school you want to go to or the job that you're looking for, something specific, addressing them with a formal title. Thank you again for meeting me at the location where we met. Be specific, proper nouns draw people in. To give me your opinions on the theater program at Tech University. It was helpful to hear about your time as a freshman and the connections you made in the arts community after you graduated. Let's be sure to stay in touch, and I will let you know if I ultimately decide to attend Tech University. So what did we do here? It's right in this line. What does this line prove that I did as the student sitting there listening? What does it prove? That I actually listened to them. And I'm giving a specific example about what I heard from the person back to them. So, as I'm a broken record and you already know the answer here, but which thank you note is better? Let's see, door A, door B, or door C? Which one's the best one? A, B, or C? Which one means the most? Which one sticks the most? Which one is authentic? This one required AI. This one required virtually no effort at all. And this one required thinking about a specific example of the impact the person made on you in that moment. It's the same idea as the cover letter research. Getting real with people, going beneath the surface, teaching students to stay away from the fancy words, stay away from being too short. This is not long. This is not long at all. It's a heck of a lot shorter than this. But less is always more, and it's about what you say, not the amount of words it took to say it. So this is the strategy, this is the approach. And again, it's locked in time forever now in this recording. So please reference it, show this webinar with your students in the summer or in the fall. And I do appreciate what Heidi said about teaching students to use their own words, find their own voice. I can tell you from just out there working in the field, the people who go furthest are able to think, to use their own thinking, use their own mind. to look at challenges, create solutions. We can't just have a whole workforce of people who can press buttons. We need people who can think for themselves. And the more they do exercises like this, the more they work that muscle. So again, that's why we love the work that we do, because the work that you're doing is so important. We're trying to help you to do your job, to train students to think for themselves and use those, all those time generating custom messages and thinking freely to then solve that next big challenge that's going to land in front of them when they're an adult. That's what it's all about, because we're going to need their solutions when they get into the work world to solve the next problem, whatever it may be. And so in small ways, you're helping them to sort of work that muscle and think on their own. So any questions about this exercise? I hope it again gives you a clear example of how to stay away from this stuff. And even to tell students, like, you think you're being slick and you think you're getting ahead, but it's actually not going to make you stand out, especially when lots of other people are using the same exact tool. It's not actually helping you. We think it's this panacea, this world changer, that everything we ever want to do ever again, AI can do for us and we're good. And the answer is the complete opposite. We have to stay with who we are, or we're going to get lost in the crowd in the same manner we were before AI ever existed. That's the irony of it all. So now with that, I want to pause and I want to show the group. And I showed whoever was with us in June, I showed you this, but we actually have an update to it. So you'll see something new. Something new that our team has been working on that I'm excited to show the educational community. And we'd love for you to try out this summer. So if you'll indulge me, give me 5 minutes and I want to show you, or less than that. I want to show you what it is, because it's helping students with their etiquette in their email. And so let me pull up the example. It's called Propel. And Propel is a tool that will recognize etiquette mistakes in a student's email before they actually send. So it's kind of like Grammarly, but it does etiquette checks. And we now have it as a tool for Gmail and Outlook. So I want you to just see it. And if you'd like to trial it this summer and give it a test drive for us, we would love the feedback. So follow me here. Okay, this is me in the video. But the sample email here has some classic student mistakes, like the entire email in the subject line. How many of you get emails with the whole email in the subject line? See those once or twice or 1,000 times? Or the message body is like a text, and it's just way too informal. So watch this short demonstration of Propel and watch how we can help students identify these etiquette mistakes before a real email goes out the door. And so you'll notice that on the bottom of the email, we have a green Propel icon that's blinking. It wants the person to check several professional skills. And so we click on the P, the Propel, and it will load and generate several light bulbs in certain spots where it wants the person to consider making corrections. So the first one we click on is about the subject line. It says the subject line is too long. Use the subject line only to summarize your message, with some sample subject lines to consider as a basis or a model. And so it's asking the person it's not writing for you. It is asking you to learn how to be more appropriate in your subject line. Let's check out a couple more of these light bulbs. Another one saying, you should say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Have a greeting at the start of your message. In addition to that, it's encouraging the person to say Mr., Ms., Doctor, Professor, address the person with a formal title, or consider doing so, as opposed to just starting the message. Okay, we pause it there. Go to the chat, please. Tell me your initial thoughts on this tool. What do you think of what you just saw? Because this is new, and we've been working on it for a long time. And we're excited to roll it out in schools and really see the impact it could have on students. Let me before I ask you one more question, I want for how many of you, tell me in the chat, who uses Gmail in their school emails? Who uses Outlook? Real quick, fire it out. Gmail or Outlook. And as you do that, I'll pull up one more thing. It's helpful to know that it's pretty much like a split. Share my screen. Okay, so for those of you who use Outlook, I want you to know, and hopefully you can see my screen. Can everybody see my screen with an Outlook message on it right now? Someone just confirm that for me. Okay, so it's the same functionality, but in Outlook, it creates a panel on the right side, and it will take their work and put it over here and show them the same rules just off to the side, not in the text, but off to the side. It's just the way that it works in Microsoft. But I want you to know that it's available in both, available for trials in both. So I'm going to ask you one more. I asked you for the free email templates at the front, but if you're interested in trialing Propel, Gmail or Outlook, put your email in the chat one more time or the first time right now. And what we will do is contact you to set up a trial in your environment so you can test this out for you, for your class, for your school. And you're some of the first educators in the country to have seen this. And we're hoping it makes a real splash and can, change student email behavior. We'd love for you to give us feedback. It's really important right now in the summer that we hear from as many of you as possible, so that we can, really fine tune this before it rolls out in the fall. So again, if you want a trial of Propel, put your email right now, and we will be in touch. It will require a very short Zoom meeting so we can help you install this as a trial in your email. Okay, so there will be a short conversation. It's just how it has to be so that we know you got where you need to be, and then we could, hear from you after you played with it. So just look out on your calendar, please, particularly this week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Just make yourself available or give us a time that works if you don't like the time we gave you. Thank you very much for all the interest. We're really excited about it. It's taken 3 years to get to what I just showed you. This is a very challenging project, but we know that there's a big need, and we're excited to see what can happen. So let me also just reiterate what I mentioned at the beginning. If anybody came in after the start, to go back to our conversation today about authenticity, we provided a set of 14 email templates that draw upon techniques for authenticity. And if you would like those and you didn't get those at the start of our session, type the word interested and your email address in the chat, and we will give you these templates that you can use with students or put up on the board. They draw upon the same strategies we went through today with cover letters and thank you notes, doing your research, telling stories, the real honest to goodness authenticity. If you're going to watch on a recording, send us an email and we'll give you those templates. Again, we're doing another session tomorrow on financial literacy and for careers. So if you want another hour of continuing ed, come join us. And everybody here today is going to get a certificate for being here. So we're going to be sending stuff out the door, hopefully talking to many of you about these things, because that's really what this is about. It can't just sit on our side, in silence. We got to get it in your environment. You got to tell us what you need. And we're here to serve you. We want to help you. We want to help your students. No student should be denied access to an opportunity because they didn't understand what a subject line needs to be. Or for the employer to dismiss the student because they didn't like the subject line, but the student has so much to offer. We gotta end this. This is rampant. This is all over the country every day, this etiquette in these emails, and we have to intervene. And so we really want to be part of that solution with you. So I'm grateful that you are all interested in trying out our things. It means a lot. And we have just a few more minutes, and I didn't know if we would or not. So let me touch on one more piece of authenticity, show it on screen so you can use it in the recording. and we'll wrap up a few minutes early. And I appreciate you saying that, Heidi. Equity is a huge deal for us. We want every student to have equal opportunity at success. And if the student's being judged on their etiquette because they just simply didn't understand what you're supposed to say, that's not fair. That's truly not fair. We all should have an equal start and an equal playing field with some of these basics of how to show maturity. So let's talk about one last thing that I'll put on the screen for you. Excuse me. And you can share with students is with two ideas, LinkedIn and elevator pitches. How many of you help students either with LinkedIn or an elevator pitch? Any hands for that? LinkedIn or elevator pitches. So you can use this exercise for both. And so let me show you what's going on in here. The example is through a LinkedIn profile where, surprise, surprise, LinkedIn has 500 million users. You make an account and they say, here's your profile page, fill it out. Do they give you any guidance on how to write your profile summary, how to tell the world who you are? They just say, here's a box. Go ahead. Oh, you're 16, you're 15. Well, you should know how to do that. Oh, you're 18, 19. You should know how to write about yourself. Just go ahead. And so what do people do? Well, they write all kinds of things. They write one sentence. They leave it blank. They write a bulleted list of their skills. They write 9 paragraphs and tell their life story. They write everything under the sun because there's no guidance. Well, we give guidance. And our guidance is rooted in, what's that A word I've been saying a million times today in this webinar? Everything we share is rooted in what? It's in the title of this webinar. Everything is rooted in authenticity. Thank you. Everything. It's got to come from the heart or it won't mean anything to somebody. It's just words on the page. So let's teach students how to write their summary statement with authenticity. It's a high school example. 3 parts. It makes a very short paragraph. The first is, who are you? Who are you? I'm a junior at Acme High School, interested in math and science. That's your first line. That's it. That's all you got to say. Then, what do you do? What do you like to do? What are some of your hobbies? Get specific. You might say, I'm a tech geek. I like to spend a lot of time in the school's computer lab. It's where we learn to deconstruct AP and Dell laptops and build them back together. Vice president of the campus computer club. Love to pick apart ATX and micro ATX motherboards and help people with their computer challenges. 2 key parts of this paragraph. The first is, did you recognize some specific words, some proper nouns? Give me one proper noun that I dropped in that paragraph. Give me one. There are several. Dell. What else? HP. Give me one more. ATX. Why are we doing that? When you use proper nouns, you're more legitimate. The proper nouns stick. All this stuff, word salad. Is this word salad? I don't think so. I think it's real. I think it's concrete. I think it holds up. I think people remember it. Also, someone asked in the chat about AI scanning all of our applications. Well, let me tell you, when they scan applications, they are looking for who knows HP, who knows ATX, who knows micro ATX. So the more words you fill up in your paragraph about who you are and what you know how to do tangibly, the more you're going to get caught in those scans and be plucked out for interview. So we fill up our paragraph with proper nouns. And then this last line, help people. We think about who we are as students or adults, and we say, I am learning these skills to make a difference for somebody else, because nobody is going to hire you or pay you unless you solve their problem. So everything you're learning to do, or that you're doing right now as a teacher even, trust, you have one of the most challenging professions on earth, and it's only gotten tougher in the last 5 years. So for you to still be in that seat doing it, I know it's because you care about these kids. And so that's also your why, which is the last part of the profile summary, which is what are you passionate about? If you're a student, how will that passion make a difference one day? If it's for you, how do you make use of that passion right now? But for the student, they say, I hope to find a job that uses computers and the latest technology to make the world a smarter place. So this is where I am in school. You don't need to embellish. This is, if you're in school, fine. I don't expect you to have 20 years experience. This is where you are. It's fine. But tell me what you like to do right now. Tell me what you can get your hands on. Tell me what you know how to do. And then tell me what you hope to do once you're out there in the world. Put it all together. It is 100% authentic. Do not go to ChatGPT and say, write my LinkedIn profile summary. It's going to be a bunch of this. And I promise you, an employer lands on your LinkedIn page, sees this, they are out. They are gone. They are off your page and onto the next face, because this means nothing. And this means everything. So again, I keep sharing this, and I want you again to be able to freeze frame this and show it in the fall. Help your students write those elevator pitches. Help them write their summaries for portfolios, for LinkedIn, whatever it is. Use this model. Help them speak from the heart. It will connect with the other person faster and get that conversation started. That's really what it all comes down to. Thank you, Heidi. Using your own words. The world needs your own voice more than ever. The world needs your students' voices. And what's amazing about teaching is you can help students to find that voice and put that voice into these standard classic career scenarios, applications, interviews, thank you notes, LinkedIn, portfolios. We're always going to have to do those things. Let's do them with authenticity and see what happens. We just had a young lady, I just read the email this morning, who used these techniques for job interview skills and took second place nationally at a CTSO competition just a week ago, all the way from a rural community in the Southwest to second place nationally by being authentic. It just works. And it makes sense when we break it down, but it's even more meaningful to teach it and see that light come on for the student. So I hope that today you found useful. I'll give you 5 minutes back and we'll wrap up. But I want to thank you for being here, giving me your attention and staying all the way through and being so conversational in the chat. I hope you'll join us tomorrow. Totally different set of topics, but we're going to talk about financial math and careers. So join us then, and then join us. We have one more session in early August on how to write more techniques for email writing. We're going to do more like project management emails, leadership emails, things like that. So thank you. Look forward to speaking to many of you. And don't be a stranger. Feedback, ideas, we're here for it. We're here for it. Let us know. So thank you again, and we will hopefully see you tomorrow.